It was a cold night in New Chicago, year 2147. Neon lights covered every street and rain made the metal roads shine like mirrors. Inside a small supermarket, a man named Ethan Cole was just looking for food. He was tired, silent, and alone, like most people after the Great Energy War. The store was quiet except for the sound of humming freezers. Ethan walked to the meat section, pushing his old shopping cart. He didn't know that this night would change his life forever. As he reached for a pack of frozen beef, something caught his eye. There inside one of the clear freezer boxes was not meat, but a woman. Her skin had a silver-blue glow, soft like moonlight. Her hair floated slightly, even though there was no wind. She was not human. Her face was too perfect, too still. On her arm, a small hologram tag blinked in red letters. Product, female specimen 042, 1,200 credits. Ethan froze. He thought it was a display, maybe some kind of robot. But then her eyes moved. Slowly they opened. They were bright violet like electric storms trapped inside. She looked straight at him. Ethan stepped back, his heart racing. "What the hell?" he whispered. The alien woman's lips moved, but no sound came out. Only her eyes begged, "Help me." For a moment, Ethan thought he was dreaming. No one else was around. The shopkeeper at the counter was asleep, his cyber arm still connected to a data pad. The camera above flickered, like it didn't want to see. Ethan felt something strange inside him. Fear, yes, but also something stronger, and pity. He had seen many things during the war, but never something this cruel. Selling a living being like a piece of meat. He looked closer at the tag. It said, "Origin unknown. Status contained. Not for public sale." And yet there she was on display like a product. He touched the glass. It was freezing cold. Inside she blinked slowly, her breath fogging the glass. Ethan whispered, "Can you hear me?" Her eyes moved again, once for yes. Ethan swallowed hard. "If I open this, they'll kill me." But then she looked at him again. This time her eyes filled with tears that shimmered like liquid light. Something broke inside him. He walked quickly to the counter. The shopkeeper looked up lazily, his mechanical eye glowing. "What?" Ethan pointed to the freezer. "How much for that thing?" The shopkeeper laughed. "You want that? It's not for you, friend. Government property." Ethan dropped a few credit chips on the counter. "How much?" The man looked at the glowing chips. That was more than a month's pay. "You serious?" "Yes," the man shrugged. "Fine, it's your funeral. Code 042, releasing." He tapped something on his data pad. A click echoed from the freezer. Ethan rushed back. The glass door unlocked with a hiss. Cold air burst out, and the woman fell forward and right into his arms. Her body was light, almost weightless, and her skin felt like cool silk. She whispered something, a language he didn't know, but her tone, it sounded like thank you. Ethan wrapped his jacket around her. "You're safe now. Let's get out of here." But just as he turned toward the exit, a red light flashed. Alert. Unauthorized biological release detected. The doors slammed shut. Alarms wailed through the market. The shopkeeper jumped from his chair. "What did you do, idiot?" "They're coming!" Ethan looked around. There was nowhere to hide. The alien woman grabbed his arm weakly and pointed to the back door. Ethan kicked it open and ran into the dark alley, rain pouring down on both of them. Behind them, the sound of hover drones filled the sky. Ethan ran faster, holding the fragile alien woman close. "Hang on," he said. "I won't let them take you again." She looked up at him, eyes glowing brighter now. A small light appeared on her neck. A signal, or maybe a warning. Then she whispered in a trembling voice her first English words, "They will come for you, too." And before Ethan could ask what she meant, a blue beam of light flashed across the alley, hitting the wall beside them. The metal exploded in sparks. They were no longer alone. The blue beam sliced through the air, missing Ethan by inches. Sparks lit the dark alley like lightning. He didn't stop to look back. The alien woman clung to him, trembling, her skin glowing faintly under the rain. Behind them, the hover drones roared louder, round metal bodies with red scanning eyes, hunting for the escaped asset. "Unauthorized subject detected," one of them said in a cold mechanical voice. "Capture or terminate?" Ethan turned a corner, his boots splashing through puddles. The streets were empty except for trash bots cleaning the gutters and flickering neon signs above dead shops. The city always looked alive from far away, but down here it was just noise and shadows. He pressed himself against a wall, breathing hard. The alien woman's hand was on his chest, glowing softly. "You're hurt," she said weakly. Her voice was soft, almost like music. Ethan looked down, a burn mark on his jacket from the beam. "It's nothing," he said. "We just have to keep moving." Her eyes shifted color, glowing pale white for a moment. "They're tracking me. You shouldn't have freed me." Ethan gave a short laugh. "Yeah, I'm starting to realize that." The sound of metal wings came closer. 3 drones hovered above the alley, scanning with red lights. Ethan grabbed the woman's hand and pulled her into an old service tunnel. They ducked inside just as another beam scorched the entrance behind them. Inside, it was dark and wet. The tunnel smelled like rust and oil. Ethan switched on his wrist light. The weak yellow beam cut through the shadows. The woman followed him silently, her bare feet making no sound. The light reflected off her silver blue skin. Ethan couldn't stop glancing at her. She looked human, but not quite. Her features were too perfect, her eyes too deep, too knowing. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. She hesitated, then said, "Lyra." "Lyra," Ethan repeated. "I'm Ethan, you're safe now." "I think," Lyra looked down. "Safe is a word your kind uses easily. What do you mean?" She touched the wall. Her fingers left faint light marks, like energy flowing into the metal. "Humans took me from the sky," she whispered. "They called it harvest. They said I was property." Ethan frowned. "That's insane. Nobody can own you." Her eyes lifted to meet his. "Yet you bought me." That hit him like a punch. He opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. "I didn't buy you," he said quietly. "I was just trying to help." Lyra studied his face, then nodded slowly. "You are different. But they won't care." A distant rumble echoed from above. Heavy boots, not drones this time. "Soldiers," Ethan cursed under his breath. "We have to move." They reached a fork in the tunnel. Lyra suddenly stopped and pointed left. "That way. How do you know?" She closed her eyes. The markings on her skin began to pulse. "I can feel them. Machines, cameras, paths. My kind was made to sense energy." Ethan followed her lead. The tunnel curved downward and opened into a forgotten subway station. Broken trains sat like metal corpses, half buried in dust. Ethan helped Lyra sit on a bench. She looked weak, her glow dimming. "You need rest," he said. She shook her head. "No time." "They'll come soon." He sat beside her, pulling out a small metal chip. "This might help us." It was a data key stolen years ago from the military where he once served. He plugged it into a broken console and old screens flickered to life. "If I can jam their scanners, maybe." Before he could finish, Lyra touched the console. The screens glowed bright white. "You don't need that," she said. "I can do it." Ethan watched as streams of data flowed across the screens, security grids, drone paths, and coded commands. Lyra's eyes moved fast, reading symbols no human could understand. Then she stopped. "Done." The alarms outside went silent. Ethan blinked. "What did you do?" "I told them we never existed," she said simply. For a few seconds there was peace, only the sound of dripping water. Ethan finally relaxed a little. "You're full of surprises," Lyra smiled faintly. "You don't know the half of it." Just then the lights flickered again, but not from her. A red glow filled the tunnel. A human figure in black armor stepped out of the shadows, a plasma rifle aimed at Ethan. "Step away from the subject," the soldier ordered. His voice was deep, mechanical, enhanced. Ethan stood slowly, shielding Lyra. "She's not your subject." "She's alive." The soldier's visor flashed. "She's not alive." "She's classified property. And you've made a very expensive mistake." Lyra's hand trembled. Her eyes turned bright violet again. "Ethan," she whispered, "don't let them take me back." Ethan looked at her, then at the soldier. His hand went to his jacket pocket. The small pulse grenade he'd kept from the war. "Old tech, unstable, but maybe enough." He smiled slightly. "Then I guess we're both making mistakes tonight." He pulled the pin. A blinding flash filled the tunnel, and everything went white. A soft wind brushed over Ethan's face. He opened his eyes slowly, blinking against the bright light. Everything looked blurry. His head pounded, his ears still ringing from the explosion. Smoke curled through the air. Broken metal and sparks covered the tunnel floor. The pulse grenade had knocked out the soldier, and almost everything else. Ethan tried to sit up, groaning. "Lyra," he whispered. For a second there was no answer. Then he heard a faint voice beside him. "I'm here." Lyra was lying a few feet away, covered in dust and light debris. Her glow was weak, but she was alive. Ethan crawled to her and helped her sit up. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "You risked everything for me." Ethan gave a tired smile. "Seems I do that a lot these days." The soldier's armor sparked behind them. The body didn't move. Only the cracked visor glowed faint red before fading. Ethan looked at it, then at Lyra. "We can't stay here." "They'll send more," Lyra nodded. "Yes, but where will we go?" Ethan looked around. The tunnel had collapsed at one end, but there was a small maintenance ladder leading upward. He pointed. "That way." They climbed slowly, each step echoing in the silence. The ladder led them to a metal hatch. Ethan pushed it open and stepped into a forgotten part of the city, a place where no one lived anymore. Ruined buildings stood like bones under a gray sky. Neon signs flickered with half-broken letters. A dead drone lay on the road, its red eye still blinking weakly. "This place," Ethan said, looking around, "used to be called District 9. The war ended here." Lyra looked up at the sky. "It feels empty, but full of pain." Ethan turned to her. "You can feel that?" She nodded. "My kind sense energy, even emotions. This city remembers what humans try to forget." They walked through the wreckage. Every corner told a story. Burned houses, broken screens showing old propaganda. New Chicago, rebuilding the future. Ethan's voice was low. "I fought here once. We thought we were saving the world, but maybe we just broke it faster." Lyra watched him closely. "You carry guilt," he didn't answer right away. "Maybe I lost people. Good people, and now I see things like you locked in freezers, sold like meat. Maybe I should have fought harder." Lyra stopped walking. "You fight now. That matters." For a moment, silence. The wind whistled through the hollow buildings. Then Lyra stumbled. Her knees gave way. Ethan caught her quickly. "Hey, easy, what's wrong?" Her glow flickered. "My energy low. The containment cell I was in. It drained me." Ethan looked around. "We need shelter. Somewhere safe." They found an old train station entrance half covered with weeds. Inside the air was dry, the roof cracked but holding. Ethan guided Lyra to a corner and helped her sit. She closed her eyes. "I need a source. Power, light, anything." Ethan took off his wristband, an old solar charge band. "It's not much, but it might help." He placed it on her wrist. The band's faint green light began to glow brighter as it touched her skin. Slowly, the silver lines on her body lit up again. Lyra sighed softly. "Better," Ethan smiled. "Told you. You're tougher than you look." She looked at him with a strange sadness. "You don't understand, Ethan. They didn't just capture me. They made me," he frowned. "Made you?" "Yes, my kind. We were not born. We were grown. Part human, part something else. Experiments. They wanted soldiers who could survive anything." Ethan stared at her. "So you're half human," she said softly. "Half from the stars." Ethan sat back, trying to process it. "That means someone, some human, started this." Lyra nodded. "A man called Dr. Core. He led the program. I remember his face every time I close my eyes. He said I was perfect. But when I began to ask questions, they put me in the freezer." Ethan clenched his fists. "That bastard." Lyra looked at him. "He won't stop. He'll come for me. For you too." Ethan smiled bitterly. "Let him come. I'm done running." Lyra reached out and touched his hand. "You remind me of something we lost. Hope." Before Ethan could answer, a sound echoed outside, when the heavy hum of an engine. They both froze. Ethan moved to the doorway and peeked outside. A hovercraft with a black insignia hovered above the street. Several figures in armored suits were scanning the area. "They found us," Ethan whispered. Lyra stood up, her glow now bright again. Her eyes turned a deeper violet. "Then we make them remember what they created." Ethan turned to her. "What are you going to do?" She stepped forward, her voice calm but cold. "End their control." As the soldiers approached, Lyra raised her hands. The air around her began to shimmer, waves of blue energy dancing like water in the air. The ground vibrated. Lights flickered and machines nearby began to melt. Ethan shielded his face from the wind. "Lyra, what are you—" She looked back at him, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. "Be ready, Ethan, this is only the beginning." The street exploded in a storm of light and sound. The world outside turned into a storm of blue fire. Ethan had never seen anything like it. The air itself seemed alive, vibrating, glowing, twisting around Lyra like a living creature. She stood in the middle of the street, her silver blue skin now shining bright as lightning. Her hair floated around her face, her eyes pure white. The soldiers raised their rifles, shouting commands, but it was too late. The energy burst out like a wave. Metal bent. Windows shattered. The hovercraft dropped from the air and crashed onto the street, burning. Ethan stumbled backward, shielding his face. "Lyra, stop. You'll kill yourself." But she didn't hear him. Or couldn't. Her voice came out like an echo, layered with a strange, otherworldly tone. "They made me a weapon. Now they will see what they created." The ground cracked beneath her feet. The neon lights of the buildings flickered and died. The soldiers screamed as their armor melted into their skin. One by one, the machines around them stopped moving. Drones, lights, cars, all dead. Then silence. Lyra collapsed. Her glow faded and she fell to her knees. Smoke rose from her arms where the silver skin had turned black. Ethan ran to her and caught her before she hit the ground. "Lyra, hey! Look at me!" Her breathing was weak. "I didn't mean to," she whispered. "It just happened." Ethan held her close, his heart pounding. "You're okay. You're okay." But inside he was scared. Not of her, but of what she could do. The whole block was silent now. No machines worked. The rain had stopped falling, hanging frozen in midair before slowly dropping again. Ethan looked around. They needed to move. Someone would come. Someone always did. He carried Lyra into a nearby building, once a diner. The sign outside still read Starlight Burgers since 2099. Inside it was dark and dusty. He laid her on a booth seat and covered her with his jacket. Minutes passed. Slowly, Lyra's color returned. She opened her eyes. "I lost control." Ethan nodded quietly. "You saved us." "But yeah, that was intense." She sat up weakly. "You don't understand. Every time I use my power, it grows stronger. I can't stop it. The energy inside me, it's alive." Ethan frowned. "Alive? Like thinking?" Lyra nodded slowly. "It's called the core. It was designed to adapt, to survive any threat. But it feeds on emotion. Fear, anger, pain. The more I feel, the stronger it gets." Ethan sighed. "Then we'll keep you calm. We'll figure this out." Lyra looked down. "You can't stop what's coming." "I wasn't the only one they made." Ethan's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "There are others," she said softly. 6 more. Each one with a different design. Some obey, some escaped. One of them leads the hunters." Ethan leaned forward. "The soldier we fought, was he one of them?" "No," she whispered. "He was human. But the one leading him. His name is Unit 01. He was the first of us. The perfect one." Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "So there's a stronger version of you out there?" Lyra nodded. "He believes he's protecting humans. But he kills anyone who stands in the way. He thinks emotion is a weakness. That's why they trust him." Ethan stood up and looked out the window. The city was dark now. No lights, no power, just the sound of distant thunder. "If he finds us, he'll kill you." Lyra looked up at him, her eyes soft again. "Then you should leave me." He turned back sharply. "Not happening. You don't understand," she said. "If they take me again, they'll use me to finish the project. The core inside me can power entire cities, or destroy them. I'm not a person to them, Ethan. I'm a weapon." Ethan knelt in front of her. "You're not a weapon to me." Lyra blinked, surprised. "Then what am I?" He smiled faintly. "Someone worth saving." For the first time, she smiled too. A real smile, small but warm. "Humans are strange." "Yeah," Ethan said. "We get that a lot." Just then, a low hum filled the air. Ethan froze. He looked up. Outside the window, a black drone hovered silently, its red eye glowing. Lyra whispered, "They found us again." Ethan grabbed his gear. "Then we move now." He helped her stand. But before they could reach the door, the wall exploded inward. The blast threw them both across the room. Dust and light filled the air. A tall figure stepped through the hole, metal armor gleaming under the faint light, his face hidden by a silver mask. "Subject 042, the figure said in a deep, calm voice. You should not have run. Lyra's eyes widened. Unit 01? Ethan stood between them. Stay behind me. Unit 01 tilted his head slightly. Human, you cannot protect her. She belongs to us. Ethan clenched his fists. Not anymore. The machine raised its arm, energy gathering in his palm. The light grew brighter. Lyra stood weak but defiant. You don't have to do this, Unit 01 paused. Emotion detected, unstable, termination required. And then before Ethan could move, the air filled with another flash of blue light, but this time not from Lyra. The fight for freedom had just begun. The explosion shook the diner. Dust and smoke filled the air. Ethan coughed, waving his hand to clear his vision. Through the broken wall, the metallic figure of Unit 01 stood tall, calm, unbothered by the destruction around him. His armor was sleek black, pulsing with red veins of light. His eyes glowed the same color, fixed on Lyra. Subject 042, he said, voice deep and cold. Return to containment. Lyra stood behind Ethan, trembling slightly. You don't have to do this, Unit 01. You are defective, he replied. You feel that is your weakness. Ethan stepped forward. Yeah? Then I guess weakness is what makes her human. Unit 01 turned his head slightly. Human? His voice held no emotion. You defend her as if she is one of you. Do you even know what she is? Ethan's jaw tightened. I don't care. She's not a thing. And she's not your property. Unit 01 raised his arm, charging another energy pulse. Then you will share her fate. Before he could fire, Lyra shouted, No! And threw herself in front of Ethan. A blinding flash followed. The beam hit her square in the chest, and for a moment time stopped. The energy should have killed her. But instead it absorbed into her body. The glow in her veins turned from blue to white, brighter than ever before. Unit 01 stepped back, almost surprised. Ethan stared in shock. Lyra, are you okay? Her voice echoed softly. He gave me power. I'll return it. With a scream that shook the air, Lyra released the energy back at Unit 01. The blast threw him across the street, crashing into a metal wall. Sparks exploded as his armor cracked. Ethan ran to her, holding her before she collapsed again. Easy, easy, I got you. But she pushed his hand away weakly. We have to run. He'll recover. And she was right. Unit 01 stood up again, smoke rising from his armor. He tilted his head, scanning her. You have evolved. The core adapts. Just as he planned. He? Ethan asked, narrowing his eyes. Who's he? Unit 01 looked directly at him. Your creator, Ethan blinked. What are you talking about? Lyra looked at Ethan, confused. What does he mean? Unit 01's voice was calm, but every word cut deep. Dr. Core, your commanding officer. He made her. And he made you, Ethan froze. That's not possible. I'm human. Unit 01 took a step forward. You are the prototype, Ethan Cole. The first hybrid experiment. You were designed to bond with her core. To control it. The world felt like it tilted under Ethan's feet. He shook his head. You're lying. Lyra stared at him, eyes wide. Ethan. He backed away, breathing hard. No, I'm not one of you. I'm not. Unit 01 continued, unblinking. You served under Core's command. You volunteered for enhancement, you just don't remember. They erased your memory after the failure. Ethan's mind flashed with images. Flashes of cold metal rooms, scientists' voices, pain, light. And then nothing. He dropped to his knees. I remember something. The lab, the pain. Lyra knelt beside him, touching his shoulder gently. Ethan, listen to me. You are you. It doesn't matter what they made you for. Unit 01 aimed his arm again. He was made to control you, Subject 042. Together, you are the weapon that will end the rebellion. Return to the program or perish. Ethan stood up slowly, his face hardening. You want a weapon? You got one. He reached for his belt and pulled out a small metallic disc. Another pulse device, old and unstable. Lyra, when I say run, you run. She shook her head. No, I stay with you. Ethan looked into her glowing eyes. Please, trust me. Unit 01 started to charge another beam. The red light grew brighter. Ethan shouted, now! And threw the disc. It exploded mid-air, a burst of electromagnetic force that shut down everything within 50 meters. Lights died. The hover drones fell from the sky. Unit 01's armor flickered and went dark. Lyra grabbed Ethan's arm, pulling him through the alley as sparks rained around them. That won't stop him for long. I know, Ethan said, panting. But it buys us time. They ran until they reached the edge of the district, an old subway line that led underground. The air smelled of oil and dust. Lyra looked at him, still shaken. Is it true? You're like me? Ethan leaned against the wall, catching his breath. I don't know anymore. Maybe I was. Maybe I still am. But I know who I am now, the guy who's going to stop them. Lyra's voice was soft. Then we stopped them together. Ethan looked at her, a small smile forming. Yeah, together. Suddenly a sound echoed down the tunnel. Slow footsteps, metallic and steady. Unit 01's voice carried through the dark. You cannot run from what you are. Ethan and Lyra turned toward the sound. Lyra's eyes glowed white again. Then we won't run. The tunnel filled with blue and red light as they faced the coming shadow, and far above, in a tower of glass and steel, Dr. Core watched their every move on a glowing screen. He smiled coldly and whispered, At last. The experiment is complete. The tunnels grew darker the deeper they went. Ethan and Lyra followed a narrow path that twisted under the city like veins of stone and metal. The only light came from Lyra's faint glow, soft and silver blue. Every step echoed, bouncing off cold walls. Where does this lead? Lyra whispered. Ethan checked the old map on his wristband. Static flickered, but a faint line glowed across the screen. If this is still accurate, it'll take us straight to the old Genesis facility. Lyra looked uneasy. That's where I was made, Ethan nodded. Then that's where we'll end this. They walked in silence for a while. Water dripped from pipes above. Rusted doors lined the tunnel, some half open, showing empty rooms filled with broken screens and faded logos that read, Genesis Program, Building the Next Human. When they reached the end of the tunnel, a huge steel door stood before them. Ethan touched the panel beside it. Dead. He looked at Lyra. Can you open it? Lyra placed her palm on the panel. Her veins glowed brighter, spreading light through the wall. The old circuits hummed to life, dust falling from the ceiling as gears began to move. With a deep metallic groan, the door opened. Behind it was a massive underground chamber, half laboratory, half graveyard. Giant glass pods lined the walls, each one containing a silent figure floating in liquid. Lyra's eyes widened. My sisters. Ethan looked around in shock. There were dozens, each pod labeled 041, 043, 044, 045. He stopped at one that was cracked and empty. The tag below it read Unit 01. Lyra's voice trembled. He came from here too. Ethan clenched his fists. And the man who made all this. Where is he? As if answering his question, a soft voice echoed through the chamber. You finally found your way back, Ethan. They both turned. From the shadows, Dr. Core stepped forward. His white coat was spotless, his hair silver now, but his eyes, cold and sharp, hadn't aged a day. Dr. Core, Ethan said through gritted teeth. Core smiled faintly. Ah, you remember. The memory walls must be fading. I knew they wouldn't hold forever. Ethan took a step forward. You lied to me. You said the program was for protection, for peace. Core's voice was calm. And it was. Until emotion got in the way. Humans fear what they can't control. So we built something better. Lyra glared at him. You built monsters. He looked at her with a scientist's curiosity. No, my dear. I built mirrors. You reflect the best and worst of us. You feel, you dream. That's why you failed. Ethan clenched his jaw. You froze her like an animal. Core's calm expression didn't change. Containment was necessary. Her core became unstable. But I see now. The bond between you two has stabilized it. Fascinating. Lyra took a step back. You used us. He nodded slightly. You and Ethan were designed as a pair. The first hybrid link between human and synthetic life. Together you could power an entire city. Or destroy it. You are the balance. The perfect machine made whole by emotion. Ethan felt cold inside. You made me to control her. Core smiled. To complete her. Lyra's voice cracked. We're not your creation anymore. Core sighed softly, almost pitying. You can't escape what you are. The core inside you is waking, and when it does, this world will burn unless I contain it. He turned to a console and tapped a command. The glass pods began to hum. Blue light filled the room as the other hybrids, Lyra's sisters, started to move inside their tanks. Lyra shouted, "No!" Ethan grabbed her hand. "We have to stop him." Cor looked up, eyes glowing faintly red now. "You can't. The sequence has started. Genesis will rise again." Lyra's body pulsed with light, her core reacting to the energy in the room. "Ethan, he's waking them." Ethan looked around desperately, then spotted a main cable running across the floor. "If I cut the power..." Before he could move, a mechanical arm shot from the ceiling, pinning him to the wall. Electricity surged through it. He screamed. Lyra cried out, running to him, but Cor's voice stopped her. "Step away, Subject 042, or I'll end him right now." Her glow flickered, fading. "Please don't," Cor smiled. "You can't save him and the others choose." Tears shimmered in her eyes. "No." Then Ethan's hand moved weakly. He pressed the small detonator from his belt. "Run, Lyra." A massive spark burst from the console, short-circuiting the entire lab. The glass pods shattered one by one, liquid flooding the floor. Sparks rained down as alarms screamed. Cor stumbled back, his calm breaking for the first time. "What have you done?" Ethan dropped to the floor, smoke rising from his jacket. "Something you should have done years ago." The facility shook. Lyra knelt beside him, holding his face. "Ethan, stay with me." He smiled faintly. "Looks like I'm not all machine after all." Behind them, one of the shattered pods began to glow. A new figure stepping out, its eyes red, its voice familiar. "Unit 01, reporting." Cor's expression turned to fear. "No, not you." The lights flickered violently. Lyra looked up, her glow rising again, and whispered, "Then we finish this, once and for all." The lab burned around them. Sparks rained from broken wires. Red alarms flashed across the walls as systems failed one by one. The sound of cracking glass and falling metal echoed through the underground chamber. Lyra held Ethan tightly. His body was weak, still shaking from the electric shock, but his eyes, his human eyes, were still alive. "Ethan, we have to move," she said. "He's still here." Ethan tried to stand, using her shoulder for balance. "Cor?" She shook her head slowly. "No. Unit 01. From the smoke, the sound of heavy metal footsteps grew louder. The air shimmered as the giant figure stepped forward, his armor still cracked from the explosion but glowing brighter than before. Unit 01 raised his head. His voice was deeper, colder, almost inhuman. "Dr. Cor is gone. I am in control now." Ethan looked around. Cor's body was nowhere to be seen. Only his lab coat burned quietly on the floor near the shattered pods. Lyra stepped in front of Ethan. "You don't have to do this, Unit 01. I was created to protect humanity," he replied. "And you are the threat. Your power is unstable. It must be neutralized." Lyra's voice trembled. "You're wrong. The real threat was him, the one who made us fight each other." Unit 01's red eyes flickered. "Emotion is chaos. Emotion destroys." Ethan spoke through gritted teeth. "Nog's emotion saves. It's the only reason I'm still standing." Unit 01 tilted his head. "You were supposed to be like me. Yet you failed. You became human." Ethan smiled faintly. "Yeah, best failure ever." The machine's hand glowed red. "Then you will be erased." A beam of energy shot from his palm. Lyra pushed Ethan aside, the blast hitting her square in the chest. She screamed, her body glowing white-hot as the core inside her erupted. The wall shook. Light burst from her body, blinding everything in the room. Unit 01 stumbled backward, his armor cracking under the shockwave. "Impossible. You can't control it." But Lyra stood tall, her eyes pure light now. "I'm not controlling it," she said softly. "I'm freeing it." Ethan shielded his eyes, watching her float slightly off the ground. The glow around her grew stronger, calm, not wild like before. It was beautiful. Lyra looked down at Ethan, her voice soft. "Ethan, thank you for showing me what it means to feel." His heart twisted. "Don't say goodbye," she smiled sadly. "It's not goodbye. It's change." Unit 01 roared and charged, swinging his metal arm like a blade. But Lyra caught it midair, her hand glowing white. The metal sizzled under her touch. "You were meant to protect," she said. "So protect this world from hate, not from life." She released another pulse of energy, sending him flying across the chamber. His armor shattered as he hit the wall, the red light in his eyes dimming. The core's light filled the entire room now, melting the lab's machines and dissolving the broken pods. Ethan stumbled forward, shouting, "Lyra! Stop, you'll burn yourself out." Lyra turned to him, tears glowing like stars. "If that's the price of freedom, I'll pay it." She reached out her hand, touching his cheek. For a moment, everything went quiet. No alarms, no pain, just peace. Then her light spread outward, wrapping around Ethan like a warm wave. His wounds began to heal, the scars fading. The light flowed into him, not burning, but changing. And then she was gone. The explosion of light rose through the tunnels, breaking through the streets above. People looked up as the night sky turned silver for a moment, like dawn breaking early. When the light faded, the lab was gone. The machines were dust. Only Ethan stood in the ruins, his body glowing faintly blue where Lyra's energy had touched him. He looked up at the silent city above. For the first time, there was no noise, no war, no drones, just the sound of rain falling softly again. He whispered to the empty air, "You did it. Lyra, you're free." But then he felt something, a soft pulse in his chest. He looked down. A small glowing symbol, the same one that had marked Lyra, appeared just above his heart. Her voice echoed faintly in his mind. "You're not alone, Ethan. I'm part of you now." He smiled, tears mixing with the rain. "Guess we're both still here, or away." On a broken monitor that somehow survived the blast, a single line of code blinked to life. Genesis Protocol. Rebooting. Ethan watched the faint light fade from the screen, his expression calm. "Not this time," he whispered. He turned toward the city skyline, stepping into the new dawn, half human, half light, the last survivor of a dream gone wrong, and the beginning of something new. The story wasn't over. It had only just begun.